Hello, welcome to Fintech Impact. I'm your host, Jason Pereira. Today on the show, I have Mounir Felloula, CEO and co-founder of Puulse. Puulse is a challenger bank, but a challenger bank that is specifically partnered with companies' HR departments to help enable their employees to have a positive banking experience from the moment they get paid. And with that, here's my interview with Mounir. Mounir, thanks for the time today.
Yes, thank you for the call. Very happy to be here in the show.
Excellent, my pleasure. So Mounir Felloula of Puulse, tell us about Puulse.
So basically, Puulse is an online bank for the gig workers that provide any basic bank services, such as credit, such as bank statement, etc. But with a specificity, which is like you pay when you enroll into the bank service, you get paid instantly. So when you work online, basically, you get paid 7 days after that you deliver your service. For example, when you work for Uber or like for any platform. With Puulse, we have enough data to pay you instantly. So we push the money in your bank accounts and we get the money of your job platform later.
Excellent.
That makes
we'll come back to that feature in a while and the logistics of that. But before we get started on that, tell me about the history of Puulse.
Yeah, so basically, it's 1 year and a half ago, I built a startup who was more oriented to a career, to help people to be financially independent by getting a high career, I would say. And with my co-founder, with my best friends since 10 years, we met in the same engineering university in France. We met together because we wanted to build a startup that have a huge impact on the world. And me coming from my first startup, and my co-founder, he worked as an early stage for Cru, which is one of the biggest health tech in Europe. We decided to build this banking solution for people. And what I noticed, when I was working as an investment banker, basically when you're an investment bank, when you are a client of an investment banking, such as family offices, corporate, or a high net worth, when you have any financial issue, just go to those big Goldman Sachs, etc. And they all the time try to find what's the most trendy solution to your financial problems. And by seeing this, I imagined that this was possible for the normal people. So that was all the beginning of the idea. And with that, by looking to people, to the new worker generation, what I noticed the biggest problem today is since we moved to the online world, basically every people get delayed for their payments, which is pretty crazy because for 100,000 years, usually you exchange coin when you deliver a service. Today, this coin doesn't exist. So from this moment, when we move to this digital world that's not very tangible, everything gets slower. And it's crazy that today you need to wait 7 days just to get your money, which is awful. And this was the beginning. And quickly we start to get incubated by Antler, which is one of the famous incubator in Europe. And after that, we get funding from IPX. And now we get funding from the French Tech, which is a government fund. And now we building we just launched the app on the Apple Store and Android. And we're doing our first cohort when we push the money for people when they finish their job, which is pretty amazing because now we detect when someone finishes his job and then we push the money. And shortcut completely is 7 days.
So yes, why did it take 7 days to move money when everything else in the world is instant problem? I've seen this many times before. So let's talk about that. How did you solve for that problem? Are companies giving you a float? Are you basically just extending credit? How are you facilitating money getting to the employees app from day one?
Yeah, we looked at different solutions, honestly. We looked at, even at some point we was looking at blockchain. But what we noticed, we wanted to come back to something very sustainable and work very well. And we came to the basics, which is we just push the money before to get it in the kind of a Klarna system. So basically, when a freelancer finishes his mission or the gig workers, we push the money on the bank accounts. And this creates a credit for not for the freelancers, for the Uber company or the job platform. And then basically, when the job platform deliver the money in 7 days, instead to deliver the money in 7 days into the bank account of the gig workers, they deliver the money into a bank account. So basically, no one see anything. We come in the middle and we just create liquidity in one side to the other side. We just bring we kind of a liquidity supply chain or liquidity pool for this gap. And we lower the risk basically because we focus mainly on a big job marketplace who already paid their user for since long time.
Fair enough. You're basically going to the Ubers of the world, the ones that are better known. But talk about the liquidity. So you're providing a liquidity pool in the middle there. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of this. Yeah, you can see it like this. Even if you are partners, basically we have a network of liquidity institutions. when we get the money. But basically, like we are like kind of a box that come in the middle and start to push the money automatically.
Okay.
Cover this gap, basically.
All right. So, and in particular, I mean, one of the things that intrigued me was that, your approach, I mean, there's lots of different challenger banks out there, neobanks, whatever you want to call them. Your specific targeting or your specific attack vector was to work with HR partners to try to basically get involved with the companies. So, I mean, that makes sense. So what is your pitch to them when you basically go to them besides your employees get paid faster, or is that enough for them?
Yeah. So as you said, like we have like a strong fintech part, but we're also like an HR tech pack because basically we are able to know when someone finishes a job. So basically we go into the open data to detect like when someone like I've done his immersion, and that's all the HR tech pack. And basically it's not what we noticed, like when we start at the beginning, like by talking to those HR companies and HR softwares, every gig workers complain to their employers that they get it's a time to get paid. All of them, when they notice that someone pay faster, they jump to one app to another. For example, there was like a battle between Lyft and Uber in the US when Uber launched instant pay. Just after that, Lyft launched instant express pay, and they jump from each other. And so quickly, like every job platform noticed that for them, it's very important to keep to pay in time because just to keep your gig workers on the platform. Second thing is also when the gig workers have very good relationship with his customer. For example, for a cleaner who's gonna clean the same house like on a daily basis, basically at some point she will jump out of the platform and she will just start to get paid in PayPal. So this quickly those job marketplace, they notice that they have like a gap, like they lose like a potential revenue, and sometimes it's like 3 months, 6 months, 7 months. So quickly, all those job marketplace, they have like this instant pay on their roadmap, but they didn't manage to do it for simple reasons, like it's kind of fintech and they just need to try to build like your expertise in fintech. They didn't manage to do it. They asked for the HR software, who as well it's just like data management, so the HR software. So for like since 2021 to today, they are fixing roadmap. They didn't manage to do it. They tried like by talking to them and said, okay, now we have the system ready for you. Just quickly, they wanted to try to test. And we get like some big names, such as like Bamboo HR, who wanted to try, Plan Day, Deal was happy to test. We have like some big names, such as Amazon. So, but just is like the thing is just because for them today, it's impossible to retain your freelancers if you give them 7 days of waiting. And that's the key point. And the good thing is like, well, we are very happy is like they're conscious about this today. Maybe it was not the case 5 years ago, but today they feel that it's more important for them. They are more conscious about their workers overall with like the inflation.
These people are highly, I mean, like they're designed to be highly movable. They can basically go between these jobs and vendors very quickly just by flipping apps. And we're talking about essentially a commodity. We're talking about rides. So at the end of the day, if they don't support what the other guy is doing and making it easy, then they're going to lose people pretty quickly.
Yeah. And they for years, they just like this power, like, okay, we just like big, so we don't care about those small entities. But now by those people moving together to one app, it creates like a very like a counterbalance and like a craving for this instant payment. And also this crazy stories that I had is like, for example, what's the worst case is like, for example, we have like truck drivers. Truck drivers, they get paid between 2 months and 3 months, and they need to rent their trucks. They need to fill with the gasoline, which is crazy for them because it's a really low or middle income. So it's impossible like to keep like a tangible work marketplace by just like delaying people. It's really impossible to keep it and to keep growing, even to attract and keep growing. But it's good because now they start to have this feeling. It's not perfect yet. It's just like the more advanced startup like are very attracted to this, like the more creative. But even step by step, all of them have this feeling like, okay, now it's like inflation, people have low income. Okay, maybe we need to do something for those people who just wait all the time.
Excellent. All right. So, I mean, again, I think it's a relatively straightforward case to be made with these companies, right? Like they're looking for ways to keep their people happy. You get the money right away. You don't have to solve the problem. So I got to wonder though, like some of the bigger ones like Uber and whatnot, there's concern. Would there be some concern that they get involved in this themselves, or have you made it so seamless that there's no point for them to do this themselves?
Yeah, it's useless because the thing is like first they already like use like HR software to do it. So the problem is like they don't own the data payroll. It's not they, I would say they hurt their expertise. And after that, like the data platforms, it's not the expertise to push money, to look at regulation, to know which license you need to have, to push the money, when, how to clean a deal, like transaction. So basically it's like, it's not the, it's just not the expertise today. Maybe they can do it if they bought like a fintech company who have this expertise. But today, like each person like do what they do the best, like Uber connect people, the HR software manage data, we push the money. It's like every people like feel like maybe long term, maybe someone will buy us. But at this stage, it's really like people do focus on what they do the best.
So talk to me about the HR software application part of this. So you're plugging into the existing one, are you providing one from scratch? How is this working?
So there's two possibilities. Either you have already like your HR software. So usually you are like a company with like more than 1,000 people. This we can implement to your HR softwares. Otherwise, if you don't have your own HR softwares, we can just build the system on scratch. Because for the same reason, like we already have all the data. We have like some scraping tools that get into the account of, for example, the Uber driver, and we can know exactly when someone finished or not. And basically, we partner with HR software for a simple reason is because it's in terms of experience is better because we can have access to more people, etc. But at the end of the day, we don't need to have a HR software partner because simple reason like since when a driver or like a user get into their app, when they accept to share their data of their scheduling data, basically we just have this information and then we can push ongoing. And we scrap, basically we just keep on every 2 hours we scrap the stem so we have all the information. So it's depending about your size, basically. If you are huge, we play with your HR software. Otherwise, we can just build everything from scratch.
Excellent. All right. So you go in there, you basically integrate with them and you basically help them make sure that they can facilitate this in-time payment. Talk to me about the experience from the employee side. Is it just going to their straight bank accounts, or is it specifically to is there no option for them to go elsewhere other than yours and then they can transfer out? How does it work?
So, so the banking is exactly the same as any bank. Mm-hmm. So you have all the facilities. You have a credit card, you have a virtual credit card, you have bank transfer, you have bank management. The money comes first on this bank account. So all the money that will be available on your bank accounts, on the Puulse bank account. Mm-hmm. But if really you have like one specific bank account that you really like, you can all the time push ongoing. But the entry, the check-in point is like the Puulse bank account. And basically in the long term is to build, because what we want to do is like really to facilitate everything related to the gig workers. So the goal is long term, like you pilot everything for this bank account. You pay your taxes, you pay your credit, your loans, like everything from this, and specifically dedicated for like gig workers.
Excellent. So, all right. So basically talking about the employee reaction, I'm sure they're all happy. They may be like, oh, I got to know, I need a new app, but at least I'm getting paid daily. This must be great. And then you got an opportunity to keep them there, right? So talk to me about their initial reaction and talk to me about what you're doing to engage them going further.
Yeah. The thing is what's very important for them is that it's completely, I would say, free and easy to integrate. Mm-hmm. And it must be like really instant. Like that was the most important thing that people look. That doesn't want to reduce to 3 days. They don't want to reduce. They will do to instantly. And I think like when we discuss with them, or we do like our first like a testing or our first like 100 users, basically as long as it's smooth and no one notices it, because basically you don't notice it. Just you download the app and like the job marketplace, they see nothing. They just say repay us. Like everything is smooth. So when we do our first try, basically we were just happy that it worked and it keep like pushing on going on daily basis. What is more difficult is that to scale it at this stage because we are still an early company. But in long term, we are sure that we're going to manage to do it like by 10,000 or like 20,000 people. But in short time, it's just like they see nothing basically. It's just like it's just push ongoing, push like the employees out of the value chain. So it just like we see the data, we push it, but they just do it's just like completely invisible for them. But they share, basically what they do is they share the download link. So basically they share the promotion of the app, which is pretty cool.
Excellent. So, okay. So you've got this established, you got benefits to both sides. Talk to me about where you see the company going next. Like, are you just can continue to try to encroach, capture more of the gig economy, or are there other verticals that might be of interest? I would think this might be of interest to conventional to add this part. I think this might be of interest to conventional employers as well.
Yeah. So basically, the goal when we start Puulse, the goal from the beginning was not only to build gig workers, but the goal was to build this banking infrastructure to help people to be financially independent. That's the main goal. That's our main target. That's the North Star. Kind of like usually I'd say like an investment banking for people, or like a Revolut plus. Because today Revolut is like just a commodity, but the goal is like really to, you have any issue, like financial issue, like you want to raise credit, but you have like a unstable income, or you have any like finance problems. We want to have like a place when you just go, and instead to look for the right product, we find the product for you. For example, with the instant pay, that's the case. The case is today you are not paid in time. Okay, that's your problem. You doesn't care. We're going to find some solution, and we find some solution for you, which is like we push the money for you and find like essential stuff. So the goal in long term is really to build like this, I would say like a big infrastructure. So it's not necessarily only for gig workers. Today, the gig workers, the people who want to be the more independent, and there's like 1 billion gig workers in the world. Plus, like there's more gig workers. People are independent as people work for non-employers, because like employer thing is very something Western. But in long term as well, like quickly we can do it also for like employees. For a simple reason is like now there's this trend which is like people doesn't want to be, some of them, not everyone, but there's like this new trend like people want to get paid daily. So this is possible as well. But the goal at the end is you to build this infrastructure, which is basically pay your taxes, raise credit, bring you cash back, find new way of investment, like basically like just like create like a kind of your own family offices for you. Like care about everything else, and you focus on your passion, you focus on deliver what you want to work in life. We focus on only the finance aspect. And that's the goal. To basically, because what we believe in Puulse is like we believe that like human life is very exciting and you can do plenty of things. You can do plenty of things. Yeah, I used to travel. My co-founder is an MMA fighter. He like to do sport. Like, and what's today like the finance aspect, like even the admin stuff, it's very painful. So the thing is like we want no humans on earth like need to care about this. Just you do your life, you do what you are the best and what you love, and all the numbers are caring about automated like system and infrastructure basically, like family offices or investment banking.
Excellent. All right. So I mean that's it's a bold vision. I mean, you're talking about basically outdoing a lot of the bigger challenger banks in the world. But I mean, I think your foundation with actually capturing information at the point of entry in terms of payroll is a real upstream advantage there. So I think that's interesting to see where that goes. All right. So basically, before we wrap up, there's 3 questions I'd like to ask everybody to end on a positive note. And the first one is, if you have one wish for something you could change in your company or industry as a whole, what would it be?
In the industry or the yeah, for sure. Just like me, if I can change something in the industry, is like just it's impossible. There's so many actors to clean one finance transaction. It's crazy. No one knows. But like when you push one money to another account, says like 10,000 people. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. It's not this coin that you change from one hand to one hand. It's like there's 1,000 checks, the government come, KYC, etc. It's incredible. Everybody takes a commission. Like we cannot keep going like this. We need to change. We need to be like as simple. Blockchain was like a really big dreams. I hope it's gonna come back, and some point we find some way to make it profitable, like with like a financial app. But like if we can just like push the money like an email, it would be amazing.
It would be. It's funny. It's the old, everybody thinks like things that look simple are simple. No, things that look simple are often very complex in the background.
Yeah. Very crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks, TG.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway, second question for you. It's what's been the biggest challenge in the company to where it is today?
The big challenge, I think for us, but it's like more like in terms of culture. I think it's about internally. But for us, it's like to keep going on the vision and to have fun on the journey. I think it's something like very weird, but because when you stuff takes times to change, it takes times like even we accomplish a lot of things in 1.5 years. But when you look at the months, we are so impatient. We like to do stuff. We want to get our first users. We want to get our first credit institution. But it takes time. It takes weeks. It's like, and just like the thing is like on the journey, at some point we lost the fun, and everything become too much. I would say too much admin and like too much like a task oriented instead to like more like a human culture. And I think what we try to recreate now is like at the beginning we have a lot of fun, now we have like new employees. Now we try to react. Okay, guys, we don't achieve maybe things to right away, but that's it. Let's just have fun. Let's just like enjoy the problems, the failure, etc. And this was like such a key because it creates so much tension and emotions when you don't have what you want. So I think, and with working remotely, I think it kills the culture kind of. So for us, ongoing is really okay, can we create like a nice human experience, like a human holidays experience, like you are a team and you go to work out and you celebrate every small achievement, even if you don't reach a big achievement. How can we keep this like culture about like, it's a happy place, we have fun, maybe we're going to reach it, maybe we're not going to reach it, but just let's keep going and like enjoy. Because at the end of the day, that's what's existed. Like, okay, one more day, what nice, one more cool day, one more day that we did this, one more day that we did this. But not like this, like, oh, one more day that we don't have this. Like it's, I don't know if it's clear, but like it's just like this. Yeah,
no, it's a cultural aspect, right? It's moving towards something versus catching up in a lot of ways, and that can really kind of down. Yeah. No, it was
difficult.
It's interesting. The most common answer is always people, right? But I think deeper to what that is what you just got to, which is culture, right? How do you build a culture that's not just actually effective but enjoyable, that people want to be a part of and are happy to go up to every day? And that's unfortunately that's a difficult task, but it's achievable.
No one teaches this. No one in universities they talk about marketing, sales, but no one how build a culture. Like no one talk about this.
No one does.
Finance.
No one does. That is true.
Like people.
Excellent. So last question for you before we wrap up. And that's, what is it that you're working on that excites you the most and keeps you getting up in the morning to keep on fighting the good fight of startups and entrepreneurship life?
Me, honestly, the idea, it's a too big idea and I will never know. Only the future will tell me if it's work or not. But just imagine a world when every people do what they love and not caring about their finance. This excites me so much. For people like me, first I come from a family with low income and middle income, and my parents are from North Africa. And I see that all of them have this pain, like just to work for working and not do what they want. If there is an app like the same that now today when you want to eat, you don't need to hunt. You just like you have Lidl to do it for you. Just imagine that you focus on what you love and like all the money aspect is caring about like an automated family offices or bank investment. This like excites me so much every day. And when we see it with the instant payments, when we see it with the credential who start to trust us, when we see that a big company will start to trust us, like just to imagine that this is going to exist, that excites me crazy. And I think that's what at the end stay. It's not about the code or about the color brand or like, it's really like, okay, is it possible that we just like create a little bit more freedom for people? And if this freedom exists fully, like exactly like the guy who owns a family offices, for the normal people, it's crazy. Every people on earth will have like a family offices. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a big dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big dream. It's maybe difficult, super difficult. But just to imagine it is crazy. I find it super hippie, like a hippie environment. Like we just people do what they love.
Well, it's an ambitious goal, and it's one that if you get close to, it's probably very rewarding if you get close and miss anyways, right? So at the end of the day, right direction. Excellent. Munir, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I enjoy this moment. I hope it's going to be further.
Excellent. So that was today's interview with Mounir Felloula, CEO and co-founder of Puulse. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you visit your podcast. Until next time, take care.
This podcast was brought to you by Woodgate Financial, an award-winning financial planning firm catering to high net worth individuals and their families. To learn more, go to woodgate.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, or find more episodes at jasonpereira.ca.